Folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I'm Dustin Howes, your nerderated of the day. Spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. You're going to find me every Tuesday and Thursday around 12:15 on LinkedIn Live and anywhere you get your podcasts. So please consider subscribing. And my nerd guest today is Blake Cantrell, old CGR friend of mine, and I don't know what he's doing these days, but we're going to find out here shortly. Blake, welcome to the Nerdatorium.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you. It was really good.
Thanks. I made that myself. It's been about 40 episodes,
Yep.
and you're gonna find that my outro is just terrible. I haven't honed that in yet, so don't get your hopes up.
All right. So this is downhill from here. All right. Perfect.
Yeah, we've reached the pinnacle of this episode
All
without a
right.
doubt. Blake and I go way back. If you have any questions for Blake, jump into the chat. We are live, taking Q&A. Say hi, make fun of Blake's short haircut. It shouldn't be this short and gray. But Blake, without further ado, who are you?
That's a great question. Number one, I think I chose the wrong background because my hair is just fading into this. This is not.
You almost look bald. It's
It's
like a cap.
not great. Not great. Who am I? Let's see. I'm a loving husband and father.
Oh.
Yeah, those are probably the biggest priorities. But yeah, I'm a guy who's, like you said, been around for 17-ish years in affiliate, doing all kinds of different stuff. And I think I've seen more than I care to at ASW and other places. But yeah, hopefully I'm somebody who's actually like somewhat knowledgeable and helpful, and hopefully for anyone that's listening to this, like a resource that they can reach out to if they need some help or need to talk to somebody or just need a different perspective. I think, I don't know, kind of like you. It's always fun to just talk to someone new and realize that you might have learned something along the way if you can help them out.
Well, it would be really hard to not learn anything over 17 years in this industry. You would have to be actively trying not to learn things. And that doesn't seem like you're the kind of character that you are. I have some incredible memories of us working at CJ back in the day and playing softball and hanging out before the kids. And we're going to get to some of those stories. If you would like to be in Blake's seat, you can go to dustinhowes.com/nerd and put in a submission here. Come and be my guest. Today's profile with Blake, I'm going to put his LinkedIn in the chat so that you can get a hold of him if you'd like to learn more about what he's doing. Let's talk about what you are doing right now, Blake. I think you're on the free agent list as we speak, and I know you're doing some painting. You picked your hair gray for your
I
walls
just
in the background.
color match this.
Did you actually take hair out and just give it to the Home Depot guy and they match it?
They wave a wand over it.
Oh, they have wands now. I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah. I'm between gigs right now, which is not the worst place to be. Kind of nice to have a little break. And yes, I find a lot of my time taken up by house projects and laundry and fetching coffees for my wonderful wife, who's bringing in all the money right now. And I'm just looking for jobs, trying to find what's the good fit for me for whatever's next. And I don't know, even if I don't really land it, I think I've had so many good conversations with people that you start to learn like what else is out there that you haven't even considered or other places to poke around. So yeah, that's more or less where I'm at. Definitely a free agent though.
Well, that's amazing that you are enjoying your time. I love that time off as well, like in that in between jobs arena. I think since I've known you, you've been working in the agency realm for I don't know, has it been 17 years? I want to say you probably got into customer support early on, but since I've known you, you've always been working with agencies at CJ Impact and at your last role. So what is that life like? Like the landscape with affiliate marketing and the agencies, how's that work with networks?
Yeah. So I guess if you go back in time, you're right. I started at CJ as like the grunt guy. Well, I was young too. I mean, I used to be
Yeah.
young. This hair wasn't always matching the gray wall. But yeah, I was doing like all the ad dev stuff back in the day at CJ. So pub app review and running reports and managing programs. So that was a lot of it there. And then yeah, Impact was kind of like when I did the big switch to like almost all agency stuff. Yeah, I think the agency landscape, and I guess if we're just mostly talking around like OPMs or affiliate marketing agencies, right? Like
Hmm.
it's crazy right now. It's so crowded. If there's so many players, there's so many more players than there were 5 years ago. And that's even with the like consolidation where, AP and Gen3 have been acquiring other
Hmm.
agencies and becoming
Hmm.
bigger and bigger and bigger. There's just so many people out there with small practices or doing consulting, or this is they only take on one or two accounts, but there's more and more people just coming into the channel in general. Like even the big holding companies about 2 or 3 years ago, they all seem to have taken their siloed affiliate practices across the like hundreds of different agencies within the holding company and consolidated them into one single practice. So that's good for us. There's something there in the industry. There's a lot of traction. There's more investment and recognition that there's possibility, but like it's going to be really interesting to see where it lands in the next 2, 3, maybe 5 years, as far as will consolidation continue? Will someone break out as a purely like differentiated player somehow? Like how is it when the market gets that crowded, then suddenly it becomes a lot more about like price, unfortunately. And so,
For
yeah,
sure.
who's gonna break out and do something different? And then kind of the same thing, I guess, would extend to a lot of the networks too, which is they're up against similar battles. They have their own services teams too, so I'd consider them agencies to a degree.
Yeah, I think being a different than all the other OPMs is kind of that important part of like gaining some business in today's like landscape out there.
Sure.
There are some monster players, Gen3 and Acceleration Partners that you mentioned, but like being a small time consultant or a small time agency takes a little more. You've got to stand out in some kind of way, or have
Right.
cheaper rates, of course,
Yeah.
which is the way you grow your base. But you've worked with lots of agencies out there. Like, how do you organize that within the network? Like, what is kind of like your CRM to keep going back? And like, who do you work with at those networks and choose from all these agencies that you're working with?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because it was a tough one, especially when more agencies showed up, and then every single agency wants a referral from a network, right? Like they love
Yeah.
to have new business. The biggest thing, and this is like for a new, consultant starting out, a smaller agency, or just even the big guys too, is you have to have some place where you draw a line in the sand and say, we are amazing at X,
Hmm.
whatever that is. Like, and have a specialty. There's nothing worse than when I talk to a new agency and like, oh, what's your history? What verticals are you strong in? Oh, we're great at everything. Like
Everything. Yeah.
that means you're not good at anything. Like it just never. I mean, it might be true. I don't know, but it was not. It didn't make them stand out when you had a lead to give out to somebody. So if you look at all the kind of more up and coming, I guess, verticals over the last few years, like there are places where it's really hard to find an in-house team at a network or an agency that can do it. So it's B2B. How many B2B affiliate agencies are there with great credentials? Well, not a lot.
There's like three. Yeah.
Yeah, and the definition of B2B could be all over the place too, depending on who they are and what they're doing. There's a ton of interest and like asks for all influencer content based programs right now, and so who can really do that in a meaningful way while also getting some crazy revenue out of it, which is what everyone wants to. That's a tough one. And then just the other like vertical specialties, like Are you amazing at travel? There's not a ton of people out there that are
Hmm.
just great at travel, or specifically, pick any vertical. It could even be you could just say we're only retail. That's fine. But what size? Are you mid-market? Are you SMB? Are you new to market? Are you great with enterprise only? Like, just really carve out something where you can say that this is what we are amazing at, so that you can justify why you should actually be able to charge hopefully a reasonable premium for your services, as opposed to, we do everything for everyone, and we charge 5K a month. Like, that's not exciting, and you're gonna sound the same as everyone else to the brand, or the network who might be looking to hand some deals out. So yeah, just anything that you can do to set yourself apart is a really big one. I think, and then the last thing on this, and I'll stop talking about it, is just flexibility. Like the last few
Okay.
years too, you can't say that we're full server nothing, and 12-month contract like doesn't really work anymore. You have to be willing to say, like, we'll consult and help train your in-house person for 6 months, and then they can take it over, or be open to short-term engagements, or like a la carte offerings. That's a really big one now too, because people are, even though affiliate's a very defendable channel, like budgets are all over the place and no one knows what's happening with the economy. And so they're really wary of like adding a third party to the mix. So if they can have it on a low or no commitment kind of structure, but still get some value out of it and not feel like they have to sign up for everything for 12 months. Yeah, those are the people that seem to be doing the best right now.
That makes sense. So being different is an important factor of this. What about the portion? You mentioned some dollar amounts there and some contract lengths, right? I think nobody's out there trying to reinvent the wheel, and you kind of emulate who you've seen in the past that is winning and doing the same kind of things. But
Sure.
I have seen some really interesting agencies working much more on a performance basis these days, and
Yeah.
I think that can be one of those differentiators that people aren't aware of. Like, one of my models with all of my clients, I'm working off a commission basis, off a 2-tier basis, or some kind of revenue share for all the affiliates that I'm bringing to the table. I'm going to get credit for in perpetuity of that program, and I think that's one of those ways you can differentiate yourself. Excuse me, I hate that word. I can never get that right. What do you think about that model?
I think it's totally right. Like, that's a valid, and most guys out there, right? They're not just doing a flat rate. It's a flat rate with some percentage like layered on top. But you have to be careful too, right? There's it would make sense if it's like, okay, cool, you're maybe a new to market program, and you have no idea what you're forecasting, and you don't know what's going on, and you're not maybe super discerning about like we're going to be content only. Like, you just want everything to come in. Great. I think there's room for people to be super successful for like the first year or two and just say, yeah, we're going to just go full performance model, and we're going to establish you, and then we'll refine, once we have some good traffic coming in. But where it gets tricky is like, there are agencies out there that are super aggressive with like framing up performance-based packaging as almost free, and then not doing a great job with those clients, and then turning people off on the channel altogether. And so, yeah, it's I don't know, just like anything, when you're talking about pricing, it's like, you don't want to price it too low, because then there's a perceived value of zero. So it's, I think there's a good fit for it, but to your point, like, it has to be the right customer and like where they are and their maturity and level too. I think you could start performance and then grow into like more consistent, like higher level payout structures.
Well, that makes sense. And for those that are maybe starting out as a consultant, like they got their experience in the industry, they did 5+ years, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I want some flexibility, I want to make my own agency. What are those steps for those consultants reaching out to you as a network, like to get some of that work, maybe some leads coming in?
Yeah. First, I mean, I commend you if you're doing that. You think
Yeah.
you know how to do it better than someone else or the networks or whatever it is, which is awesome. It's a brave place to be. I've considered it and I just can't do it. So, yes, I think there's room for all kinds of stuff. Kind of similar theme. Yeah. What's your story? Why would I send a lead to you versus the 100 other agencies or
Yeah.
potentially our in-house team? The other part would be, what are you hoping to do? Like you need to have some sort of every place I've worked where you potentially work with an agency would always have like basically like an intake sheet of like, okay, great, what do you do? Who are you? What regions do you cover? What are your ballpark price points? How many people are on the team? Like, how do you assign? What are your service tiers? What are there verticals you won't touch? What are your specialties? Like, what's every client you've ever worked with, whether you have them today or not? So we know like who potentially would be a good fit for you. The more information you can provide the network and continually update them with will get you kind of top of mind and more in the mix when it comes to doing matchmaking for outbound leads. And that's a big one that I think is a struggle on being on like the network side when working with agencies is like, who's your current roster? Like,
Yeah.
tell me
Right.
you lost the account. Okay, great. Like it's not a ding against you. I just know that maybe you're not great at home goods or whatever it is. Like, you won 3 travel accounts. Awesome. Like I need to know those things so I can kick them over. And then, yeah, same thing. If you update your pricing or your packaging or your team members
Oh,
or whatever it is, like just continue to make sure you have some regular contact that gets updated with all that information.
great.
Um,
Great point. Reach out to your contact at each individual network that you're working with. Super smart. And, picking your lane kind of reminds me of people that say, we do everything. It reminds me of the person that says, hey, what kind of music do you like? And you're like, everything. I'm like, oh, really? Mariachi? You're into mariachi? Tell me
yeah.
the mariachi band. Like, I just hate that answer so much. And I can expect it's the same, like hearing that from an agency that doesn't know exactly what lane they're in.
No, that's pretty good because it's there's so much out there. There's so many, I guess, requests too that I've seen where I didn't have anybody that was a match. Like, who's the agency that's amazing at gaming or amazing in LATAM? Like, those are just like no one's doing that in an amazing way. And so like that's there's still places for people to jump in and pick it up. I mean, if you look at APAC, like in general, yeah, there are agencies that do affiliate, but there's not a lot of affiliate agencies. Like if you wanted to move to Singapore and start your own practice and kill it right now, like you could probably do it. You'd also have to learn the native customs and cultures and language and figure all that out. But like no one knows how to just do pure affiliate. Like it's not happening in so many regions right now.
That's wild. Yeah. US is winning again. How about that? All right. So switching gears a little bit, like you're a consultant out there and you're kind of ramping up your agency, starting to either hire people or virtual assistants or whatever they do. Have you seen any good training out there that agencies can go and like build up their team? Is there a good strategy around building this team up?
I mean, honestly, I think what they do is like what we did at CJ a million years ago, right? It's like there's some in-house tribal knowledge kind of stuff going on, or there's like people who are subject matter experts on like a particular network or particular vertical, but there's not a lot of like, just here's how, I mean, look, my first 6 months at CJ, I'm not sure I understood just the mechanics of how it even functioned. Like
Yes.
Like, how does this work? Why does this happen? Like, I think people skip over those basics that so many people need out there before you jump into the like, here's how you broker like a 3-tiered deal with the publisher or whatever. That's like, so I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of like formalized agency training outside of just their own in-house knowledge, which is obviously usually inherently a bit biased because it's coming from people who have big preferences.
Yeah, and that training out there, if you are a big agency, you have an in-house capacity of somehow training and mix it in with shadowing some of the senior affiliate managers out there. But like, as far as like affiliate management training, do you have any like go-to solutions out there that you use?
No, I mean, I know that Impact has their thing going on, but it's
Mhm.
hard to imagine that that's, completely unbiased.
Yeah.
And then there's what, Afaverse and some others out there, but I've never
Mhm.
really jumped in there and used
Mhm.
any of them. But I don't know. Maybe that's because I'm crusty and old.
Yeah, that your hair is showing it. So there's no one else you can think of out there that is doing some amazing affiliate management training that comes to the top of your mind here, Blake.
There's one guy,
Okay.
kind of a wild card.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Definitely bad baseball taste.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I've seen him at the shows. I can't remember his name now. It's something Dustin Wise. I can't know. It's How was, and there's something really strong he's doing with performance marketing manager. Yeah, I think he comes to mind.
Awesome. You heard it here, folks. Blake Cantrell says Dustin's course is a slam dunk. Captain Blake, I absolutely love and miss this photo so much. You should replicate it every 10 years. Tell me a story behind this. How did you even create this masterpiece here?
Sure. So a long, long time ago, so I played volleyball forever in
Okay.
college and then after, and then I wrote for a volleyball magazine for a while,
Wow.
and I had my own column. And so they sent a photographer to Santa Barbara where I live and said, "We're going to take a bunch of pictures for you for like different ones for each column of the monthly magazine. Just bring whatever you want with whatever ideas you have." And that was what I did. And that shot took like 50 takes to get that one where I was like dead-eyed straight ahead and the ball was hitting my hand. Like,
Yeah.
there was beer and cigarette smoke. Is really terrible. But yes, glad
Well,
that that's a lasting image for you.
yeah, I saw that on your Facebook and had to have that up here as part of our sponsorship. Thank you for promoting my course. Really appreciate that.
Anytime, anytime.
Such a glowing uh, promotion from you.
Well, look, I'll be real. I do think that there's a lot of room for what you're doing right now, and it needs to be out there because it is so siloed. Everyone's version is like a little bit different, and you've worked across like every single platform that there is. So to have an objective third party who can come up with some of these trainings is like a much better place to be than learning it solely from a network or solely from an agency. Like every place I've worked, Impact, Partnerize, CJ, it's all the training's all a little bit different. The
For sure.
naming conventions are all different. Like
Yeah.
have you out there to solve that for people is huge.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. And it is hard work. And what I've found is over this journey, over the last 5 years that I've been doing this and running this course and having to update all the content and keeping up with the folks that have signed up and training hundreds of affiliate managers in this space. Like, uh, I've watched competitors come in and try to sell something similar
Yeah.
and just pull their hair out like I did and give up after a year. And like there is a whole bunch of trainings out there that don't exist anymore that tried their best. And this isn't easy what I'm doing, but there is an absolute necessity in this industry for it, for coaching the next generation of affiliate managers and to helping the SMBs learn the
Right.
strategy the right way so that they don't fail. And that's what I'm doing out here. So love being a part of it and this solution. So switching gears here, we're seeing some trends in the affiliate OPM region of PR. Oh, I love how on brand you are. Is that a beach plum?
Oh yeah, it's Beach Plum. You knew it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a Costco pack special.
yeah. They only sell that at beachfront cities, I believe, like Santa Barbara. But get back into it. PR SEO agencies and affiliate, like where's the overlap you're seeing with affiliate agencies, or like vice versa, like PR agencies jumping into the affiliate realm?
Yeah. So, man, since 3-4 years ago, I'd always be at the forefront of like new agencies trying to figure out how to work with wherever I was working. And so,
Okay.
um, more than any other agency type, we were seeing PR agencies that were like, hey, they'd always mimic the like kind of buzzword sentences that people would put out there. It's like, our Facebook spend is declining and there's no more room. And like, so we need to figure out how to probably jump into affiliate. And it would either take one or two paths. It'd be like, their brand told them, hey, can you manage affiliate? And they just say yes because they wanted additional dollars. Or their brand would tell them, we want to be on, Skimlinks or, one of these other content driven sites. And they would say, yes, you can work with us, but we only do it through affiliate. So then they had to come over to a network to like figure out how the heck it would even function. I don't think anyone's figured that out at scale, like how to get them to transition in or bring them in, or you should go find 1 million PR agencies because they definitely need training on how to do affiliate. That's a big piece of it. But then we've, as you know, seen, for years now, either networks and or agencies trying to go the other way and dip into content or influencer and figure out how to make that work. And it's been challenging because you're usually going through the affiliate person on the brand side, and they say, yeah, go for it. But you have to do like content on a last click model, which doesn't work or scale. So, I think it's really interesting. You have people on both sides trying to meet in the middle, but then it's going to be up to, someone to say, like, who do I want to run this? Like, I want to work with Skimlinks. Do I want my PR agency who maybe has some expertise that's outside of my affiliate team to dip into affiliate? Or do I want my affiliate team who knows how all this operationally works and can scale it up quickly to take on more PR like functions? And I don't know that there's a great and clear answer right now, but I think the opportunity is so real for a good OPM to really jump in and have different contracts and give different contacts at the brand side and just take over all of that PR budget and hype it through affiliate and all the different content sites out there. But I don't know. I think some people are doing it in bits and pieces, and some are having a degree of success, and others are still chasing it. And the PR agencies are everywhere, but not making a ton of progress. So yeah, I'm sure there's exceptions I'm forgetting out there. Like LaRue is an interesting one that does a little bit of both. But it's an interesting place to be. I think it will be very real in the next year. Somehow someone's going to break through, and that could be a big differentiator like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I need to have them come on. I helped train LaRue's affiliate team essentially because they were in that PR space and trying to get in the affiliate game, and I commend them for being responsible. It's too easy for a PR agency to just say, yeah, we can do affiliate, try it out, take the people's money and fail at it miserably. But, it's very responsible for an agency to go out and get the training, and that's exactly what they did. So there is that overlap, and I think you're right. It is right for an agency to be doing both of those, and maybe the solution is like a PR agency ends up absorbing some kind of really good OPM out there and combining their efforts in this kind of sense. And folks over at Backbone Media are really doing this well over in the space for outdoorsy stuff and programs on AvantLink and things like that. So there are some winners out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the other thing that's like just super interesting to me is that the other part of this is what's happening out there in the larger landscape, right? There's 1 million influencers that are just getting $1 million checks for like a day of live streaming their Twitch feed and whatever, like stuff that is working today that can't be sustainable
Hmm.
And someday some CMO is going to come in there and be like, yeah, like we'll keep doing this, but I need better metrics or better data or better reporting. And they're going to stuff them into something at least like the affiliate channel,
Hmm.
just to get the information about what's really happening here. And I think at some point it'll just all go over there, whether it's the affiliate channel or something tracking mechanism that looks very much like it, where they can be sure of what their actual spend is and what the return is on that spend, because it can't continue the way it is like
Yeah.
forever. Like it's hard to imagine.
All right, and bucketing influencers into the affiliate is always a good play. It's going to make you look better, even after you have to like zero out the commissions if you're on an upfront sponsorship, or
Sure.
put a little skin in the game. But getting them to use tracking links or some kind of vanity code is super essential to working with those influencers to track that. And what they're doing right and wrong. Don't just blindly like buy sponsorships and not track it properly. It's crazy talk. All right, and you touched on like agencies getting absorbed a while back. Like
Yeah.
there's Gen 3 and there's Acceleration Partners, and they seem to be taking on other agencies and putting them in their portfolio for whatever reason, if they get to a certain size or they see some value in them. And what have you seen out through the years? Like, what does it take to get absorbed from like an agency perspective? Like, you've seen this happen quite a few times, I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. You were there.
Yep. Yep.
I think, at least from what I know, and without oversharing and perhaps knowing too much, like I think what Gen 3 and Acceleration Partners have done is found things that were complementary or somewhat different to what they're offering today that could help them expand, whether it be type of audience, type of or size of accounts that are being serviced, or like this will fill in a blank for us in EMEA or some other region. Like I think that's a lot of what's been happening, is just try to add pieces that would help fill in the blanks for them to have a more broad offering and
Mhm.
be able to service accounts in a better way. But what happens next is the more, like, to me, interesting question. Like, where do you stop? How big do you get? And then who
Oh.
else is going to take on that strategy, or will anyone else take on that strategy? Like, is there, outside of those two, is there a third player that could do that? Or will the holding companies at some point like really dig in, or the networks, to be honest? Like, I think that's at this point probably, if you're building up a big agency that can handle affiliate in almost every region, SMB, enterprise, mid-market, and you can do, search or influence or something else for them, which is what a lot of these bigger guys are starting to look like, well, then suddenly you fit the profile more and more of what a holding company looks like, and they have the ability to probably talk directly to like the top of the food chain on the brand side, and then eat your lunch if they want to, just to kind of roll affiliate under their existing larger contracts. So it's good. It's going to be more competitive and healthier for everybody. But where the end game is I'm not sure that's clear for everybody right now,
For
especially
sure.
with like, there might have been a chance for, I don't know, who knows? Like maybe tomorrow Impact buys an agency. Like, I don't know.
Huh? I guess it is possible. My buddy Rick McGinnis was talking about this, how he started his own affiliate platform, and it's walking backwards the way that it's traditionally done, where networks, are gaining all the traffic, and then there's a conflict of interest because the affiliates that they recruit in-house with the management team in-house,
Yeah.
you could just fill up programs with coupon sites and collect all this additional revenue on top of it. And there's a real conflict of interest having the agency aspect running your program within the network. And I think that's where Impact got it right. Like really early on, they said, no, we're not going to have an agency within here. But like now that things come around, they're like, it might be a revenue model like we might want to look at. But
Yeah, who knows, honestly. I mean, there's just so much out there, and then it's tougher, I think, for, again, this is pure speculation, but like a CJ or Rakuten, they're part of massively large companies now. Like
Yeah.
how nimble can they be, or how nimble will they be? I don't know. Or is affiliate, the total business represents what percentage of the total business of an Epsilon or a Rakuten? Like, it's I don't know what's going to happen there. It's all very, very similar. Again, probably back to our earlier conversation. We need to be differentiated instead of commoditized, and figure out what a unique voice is out there in the market.
Yeah. Big Time Evans says there's a point where we're all a little too integrated. And it's a really good point. I hate the word incestual that so many people use in this industry.
That's gross.
That word,
I've never heard that. That's disgusting.
That word has to go, and you will never hear me use it. But like, it brings up a good point. We're all interconnected in this industry, and somehow, and it's usually just so small and apparent when you go to an affiliate summit and see 100 people that you've known throughout the years. And
you're not even going to touch on how like we both worked with our wives in the industry too.
Yeah, we are both in like the top 10 power couple zone.
Right. Yeah. I think there's only 10 probably, but yeah.
I mean, there's some good ones out there. There's some big ones, bigger than you and I, but like at least we're on that top 10 list. Like we're making our name out there as the as secondary bread makers at the household LLC, whatever.
Just fine. Yeah.
So one thing I'm been doing these days on Affiliate Nerd Out is lesson of the day, and I think the biggest takeaway from today's conversation is if you are an agency out there, be a little bit different than the norm, because everybody is kind of doing that OPM thing, and you should be trying to differentiate yourself from the pack. Is that a good lesson takeaway there, Blake? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's my, if you're an agency looking for advice, yes, that is exactly what I would tell you, because there's a million out there that do great with retail. There's not a million that do amazing with all these other funky and upcoming verticals. If there's an agency out there that's amazing at CBD, by the way, you can come and clean up. There's 8 million CBD programs.
Oh my God.
There's like 2 publishers that do anything in CBD. So if you were going to become the CBD specialist agency, I think there's room for you.
Dude, and then on top of that, like every one of those CBD companies thinks that their product is the best. Like they will tell you, like, we've got the best product out there and here's why. And it's all the same message.
I know there's a lot of money out there, and it's a valid industry. It's so, again, this is part of me getting older. I'm so far from that universe that it's hard for me to say what's right or wrong or what's good or bad. And I'm like, I don't know. Sure. But I know it's hard to find people to promote you.
I've been doing this new affiliate thing where I just I buy a bunch of the liquid version of the CBD and pour it into a bathtub and like lay around with it, and then video it and like give my nothing's live yet. We'll see.
Yes, if I go to ASW, I'll look for you with your Need CBD Leads t-shirt on. I'll make sure to point you in the right direction to the meat market.
Perfect. All right. It's time to defend your post here, Blake.
What's that mean?
This is a segment where I pull something from your history, and then
awful.
Then you have to defend yourself. And
worse than that picture earlier?
Much worse than that picture.
All right, let's go.
So usually it's professional, but since we are Facebook friends, since we go back 10 plus years, I found this picture. And I want to know why everybody looks like Eminem except for you. And like, how did you get into this crew?
Right. First, let's just acknowledge how dark and luscious my hair was.
It's a good look. Yeah. The Keanu look right there.
Yeah, I was killing it. All right. So I am, that's me at 17. My face is much thinner. That is my high school volleyball team. And at some point, what was happening? We were going into the playoffs, and everyone decided to, yeah, this is 1995 for context. So
For sure.
everyone decided they're gonna either shave their heads and or like bleach it blonde because one of the other guys on the team had done that. And then I was like, you know what, that is just not gonna happen for me. So I was the only holdout, but that's how I ended up like in that group. There's no way.
Oh, that's amazing. And there's no other team photo to like document that. It's
No,
team photos were before championship. So
yeah. So that was just like at somebody's house after everyone had like gone all bleached out. And yeah, there was like a big 5-minute chase where everyone was like gonna try and pin me down and do it. But yeah, that didn't quite work. But it also helped out as a team captain and told them to eat it. So
pull and rank. I love it. And it just goes back to the lesson of the day of stand out. When there's a crowd of when your whole team is a crowd of Eminem impersonators, be the Keanu in the group.
That's funny. Yeah. I do remember that like next week after that, one of my teachers like really pointed me out like in front of the whole class of like, this is someone who sticks to their guns and doesn't do just what everyone else is doing. I'm like, okay, but it's more about just vanity, but sure.
There was morality to it. It was underlined. You just didn't know
Thank
it.
You. Yeah, it was much more meaningful than I realized, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Way to take a stand, buddy. All right. For those of you who are affiliate Nerd Out fans, my guest on Thursday is going to be John Labruto, so don't miss that. I'm going to have a great time with that old veteran. I love talking to John and hanging out and nerding out with him. If you would like to know exactly what I do for every program launch that I do, go to dustinhowes.com/checklist and download that asset. Blake, thanks for being here, buddy. Always good catching up. And let's see, how would you end this show? That's my latest question. Like, what's a good sign off for you?
I feel like you're gonna need like some exit quote that you say like every single time, like
Oh yeah, like a Adam Carolla mahalo kind of thing.
Yeah, or like or maybe like also with like a song that plays you off, or like I think that could work for you. But what that is, I don't know. Like I'm just the idea guy. You got to execute.
This is why I asked you. I don't ask every guest this question, but I'm glad I asked you. A walk-off song of some kind. Yes, makes sense for me.
Yeah.
Maybe Cucaracha or something. Seems appropriate.
Pina Colada song, like your choice.
Cheeseburger in Paradise. Yeah. All right. Where can folks find you, Blake?
I mean, in beautiful Santa Barbara, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. That's number one. I got some time, so yeah, let me know. The other place, probably my LinkedIn is the easiest. Like, send me a message, go find me on there. It's just linkedin.com, whatever, Blake Cantrell 14, I think. Apparently there are 13 other ones before me that were amazing. Yeah, but I'm around. I'm super excited to just talk to anybody who, if you have a job lead, great. If you have some contract work, amazing. If you need some help with something and you thought I was halfway insightful, let me know too. Happy to help.
17 years of experience. Can't go wrong. Blake, thanks for joining me. For all those affiliates out there and affiliate managers, keep on recruiting, and we'll see you out there.